Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Someday I'll Have a Podcast. My name is Ren. I am the host of this silly little show. You know, I've even been thinking about this title lately and like how I'm so stoked on the idea of making Someday today, but I'm also not always enacting it. Like there are so many things that I'm like, oh yeah, I really want to do this. I want to do this. And I still am not. Like, for example, I want to learn about like real estate, not real estate. I want to buy something to make it an Airbnb, but I don't know the first thing about doing that, and I would need loans and blah, blah, blah. So I've just been putting it off. But now I'm saying it out loud to hold my freaking self accountable. So anyway, besides that, a lot of my other dreams are coming true. Thank you so much for being here. This is basically just a lightly edited stream of consciousness type of show where I could talk about literally anything under the palm trees. You know, like anything under the sun, but I'm looking out at palm trees, so I thought, what the hey? Which is funny because I should say under the scarecrow because we're talking about Halloween today. And we're talking about why it's the best holiday, like objectively. And this is definitely coming from a biased place, so if you're coming here for like factual stuff, you're in the wrong spot, and I apologize. You can click out of this episode if you want, but I would love it if you would stay. I think that you'll get something out of this episode if you stick around, even if it's just a little bit of entertainment. Yeah, Halloween is my favorite time of the year for many reasons, but I just love it. I love that like the freaks come out. I love the color schemes. I love candy, and especially when it's free. Like, let's be honest here. I just love that it's like we embrace like the darkness. I love the freaky shows and movies. Truthfully, the last couple of years I haven't been really able to get into like horror. I'm more of like a thriller gal because, man, I was having nightmares, but that's besides the point. I just feel like objectively it's like one of the best holidays, and we're going to break it down why I think that. At least in America, the United States here. Basically the roots of Halloween, spoiler alert, not from Christianity. I know we think everything is based around like Western religions, but it's just not the case. Well, kind of. Regardless, basically the pagan holiday of Samhain is really where Halloween started, and like all the traditions of the pumpkins and all this other shit, because it represents the changing of the seasons. It marks the changing of the seasons. The end of the harvest season has come. The harvest season has come to an end. And basically that's the reason for the celebration. And of course, all the other reasons, like the veil is the thinnest. And I think we're silly to sit here and think that we are the only realm and we're the only beings on the earth and that are surrounding us at all times. I think that's a little bit small-minded to believe because where do we go when we die? But again, not the point of the show. See, you'll just get a lot of tangents on the show. Deep breaths. I like Halloween because there's a few reasons. Christmas is one of the most most popular holidays, I suppose. Like, it's the most hallmarked, it's the most commercialized, if you meet anyone, a lot of people say Christmas is their favorite. And I'm not disagreeing. I think Christmas is a great season. I do love the gift giving. I love the family time. I love the sentiment. I love the cozying up in front of the fire with like a hot cocoa and like watching those Hallmark Lifetime movies. Like, I do love that. Don't get me wrong. But the thing about Christmas is that it has become, because it's become so commercialized, it's become all about consuming. It's such a consumerist holiday nowadays. And the reason I love it, believe me, I love getting gifts. I've had fun giving gifts. Like, I've loved getting creative with gift giving in the past couple of years, but I just think that it also leaves a lot of space for like ego. And truthfully, I'm thinking about the kids in the situation of like, if you look at a city like, let's say Chicago, I'm sure, and this is not backed in fact, this is what I think, so allegedly or whatever I have to say. I think that, for example, the city of Chicago, half the kids go home for holiday break, half of them come back saying I got the newest iPhone for Christmas, and the other half come back saying I got some chocolate. Because if you think of the wealth disparity in our country, there's a lot of it. And I think especially in that, like, that literally just breaks my heart thinking that like, some kids won't, okay, I'm not going there because I'm going to cry. Literally, I'm crying at the thought of like kids not getting anything for Christmas. All of that to say, Halloween is not just about like rich kids showing off what they got. It's about like literally everyone gets something. Everyone gets to dress up. Every single kid, there's like, talk about no child being left behind. Any child can walk up and down their street and ask for candy, and it's free. And most likely all the kids will get relatively the same things. Yeah, sure, some houses will give out the big candy bars, but regardless, you're getting, like, everyone gets something. There's something for everyone. And I think that's important, and it's also largely different than, you know, a holiday like Christmas as my main example. So that means a lot to me. That means a lot to me, that every kid, every person, like, there's something in it for everyone. And that's my next like note, is that there's something in it for everyone. I don't care how old you are. Halloween is a freaking blast. Whether you're 5 years old and you're walking up and down getting free candy, or you're my age and you're like going to like freaking Halloween ragers where everyone's like dressed up, you're drinking like orange and green Jello shots. Like, it's just fun. It's like, this year I'm going to be going to a Halloween music festival. Like, it's just all sorts of fun things. And even like for the older generation who might not, or people who just decide not to go out, you get to see the delight on kids' faces. You get to see the creativity in costumes. Everyone can get down to a good spooky movie, like literally anyone. I don't care if it's Halloween Town on the Disney Channel or literally The Insidious, but there is something for everyone. And I think that freaking rocks. Also, like, the creativity in costumes and stuff, like, I love that. One thing about me is I love like secondhand fashion, and I love like thrifting and all that crap. And I think it's so fun to like go to the thrift store. Like, even we already got one of our costumes for the Halloween weekend. And we literally just went to the thrift store and like got inspired by the things we saw, and then thrifted the items that we needed to become our costume. So it doesn't have to be expensive. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. It's fun to like be creative and like throw your own version on a character or an idea or whatever. And like, it's so cliche of like, oh, you get to be someone else for a night, because it's not really about that. It's about embracing the different sides of yourself. Like, whether you're dressing up as a character that you love, or something that you could never possibly wear in your day-to-day life, or it's just fun. It awakens the inner child in even adults, which I think is amazing, because we as adults, literally after like teenage years, we totally lose our sense of like fun and play. And that's all that Halloween is about. That's all that Halloween is about, is like play, at least like the way that we celebrate it these days. And again, I love that. That's something that I totally value. That's that's such a deep part of who I am, I feel like, in all of my interests. It's like going places and doing things that are fun and embracing the play, and the cliche saying of nurturing your inner child and healing your inner child. But like, you are by allowing yourself to have fun. Like, why do we lose our fun in adulthood? I literally can't understand. So if you want to be friends and do some crazy stuff and have fun, message me on Instagram. Let's hang out. So to totally switch gears to like another side of it, I think Halloween is cool because we all have dark sides. We all have like our shadow selves. We all have this darker aspect to us. You know, you can't have light without darkness, and the yin and the yang and all these things about balance. And I think Halloween time in autumn, like when we switch into that darker half of the year, the changing of the seasons, it encourages us to explore that within ourselves. That's powerful, because if you're open to it, that is where the healing happens, is to explore that part of yourself, recognize what it needs, where it comes from. Like, I guess this is on a deeper level, so like let me know if this is something that you do, or a way that you've like thought about Halloween time. But we do all have a darker side, depending on what that looks like. You know, it's different for everyone. But even like going into that space of like, I really want to watch something that's going to scare me or make me think about these like dark things, and it's very taboo a lot of the time, but it's part of life. You know, and I think that's another reason why people, or like how like true crime can be tabooed and all this other stuff. But at the end of the day, it's part of life. And so like exploring that other side of yourself, I think it should be more encouraged. And I think Halloween time does that. And that's not to say like go and commit crimes. Like, that's literally not what I'm saying. Please be a good person. But to indulge in something scary and something a little freaky and something that, you know, puts your mind into this other spot than you always trying to be like toxically positive, that is important. We cannot exist without balance. You know, we are two halves of a whole. It's all those things. I also feel like around fall, autumn, Halloween, witchy stuff starts being a little more socially acceptable. And let me tell you what I mean by that. I'm not going to say I'm like a practicing witch by any means. Like I don't know a lot about it, and there's a lot to learn. But the idea of like casting spells under a full moon and using herbs and lighting candles and like chanting your manifestations, it's all kind of like put into this realm of like, it's okay now that it's Halloween. And because a lot of people do actually practice, you know, Wicca and paganism even still. I mean, it's fewer and far between than it used to be, probably because they burnt all the witches at the stake. Imagine that. Actually, a lot of them weren't even burned. They were drowned. But anyway, a lot of people do actually have those practices. And the lines get blurred a little bit between like religion and, you know, just even like jargon and phrasing and labeling, titling. Because a lot of people like casting a spell could be the same as like praying. But since we're not here to necessarily talk about religion, I just want to mention the fact that like witchy practices seem to be more socially acceptable around Halloween time. Not that really like changes anything. A witch is going to practice her witchcraft no matter what you say. Hopefully she's practicing white magic and not black magic. But either way, it becomes a little more socially acceptable to, I guess, exist in that realm, which is a whole problem in and of itself. But besides the point, once again, besides the point. So at the end of the day, I just feel like Halloween's the best. It is the best. There's something for everyone. Free candy. Literally, I don't know what I'm going to do this year because the day of Halloween is a Thursday, I believe. Let me fact check myself. Fact check time. I should make that a segment and just play that sound every time I go to check a fact. Yes, October 31st in 2024 is on a Thursday. So I would love to like go trick-or-treating or hand out candy. The only thing is right now I'm living in this community that is mostly like retirees and people that are like, I don't know, the older generation without kids. Like there's not a lot of kids around is what I'm getting at, or at least it doesn't seem to be that way. So I'm wondering if I buy a bunch of candy to hand out? Will anyone even come trick-or-treating over here? Like I would love to dress up and just hand out candy all night while like Beetlejuice is playing in the background. Is that even a viable option? Will I end up just sitting here eating a bunch of candy on the couch? I don't know. Do I try and go out? I'm literally not far from LA. Like everything's going to be happening all week long. So what do I do? Take a vote. Let me know what you think, or if you know any cool events I should go to. Right now I'm living like 2 hours east of LA. So if anyone has any recommendations, seriously, I would love to know. By the time you're hearing this, we're probably gearing up to go to Escape Halloween, which is a music festival in SoCal. And I feel like I haven't even talked about moving in this podcast yet. So for those of you who don't know, or if you're new here, hi, I just moved from Chicago to California. It's a temporary move, kind of sort of thing. Been tough finding jobs. So with all that being said, if you want and to support me as a creator, there's always going to be a link in the description of the podcast, as well as the YouTube videos, just of my Buy Me a Coffee link, or you can super chat me on YouTube if you like my content and want to support me in continuing to do it as a creative and potentially financial endeavor. No pressure. I really don't give a shit. I'm going to do it either way. Love ya. Can't get rid of me that fast. So then I guess we've made it to that part of the episode, my favorite part, arguably, where I tell you a recommendation of a song, because music is what makes this world go round. It's how we all connect. Of a song that I've been listening to a lot based on my Spotify plays. And truthfully, I don't know what it's going to be on here because I I feel like I haven't been listening to a lot of music, at least not on my phone. I've been watching a lot of YouTube videos and listening to a lot of podcasts. And if I have been listening to music, it's been on my partner's, like when we're playing music together. So I'm intrigued to see what Spotify says I've had on repeat this week and as of late. And I should have known. So All Time Low, my favorite band. Now My New Homies, if you haven't seen that YouTube video, they came out with a song with I Prevail, which is like a much harder band. They're kind of more on the edge of like metalcore, like post-hardcore or whatever. To give you a hint, there's some screaming in it. If you're not into that, maybe don't listen. But I love it. I think it's a great song. It's called Hate This Song. That can get confusing. And as always, I'll put the Spotify listen link right in the description show notes of this episode as well. So I think that brings us right about to the end. Stay spooky out there, kids, and make your someday today as much as you possibly can. No matter what I say and do. Do as I say, not as I do, right? Isn't that a thing? Thanks for tuning in, and I hope that you stick around.